Hello beautiful people and welcome to the channel. Reverend Debbie here, hope you're all doing well. So today's video, Bear versus Man 2. Wow, this debate has exploded. Although I'm going to call it a dismissal, and you'll find out why a little bit later. But this debate is raging on social media platforms. But where's the rage coming from and why is there rage around this? Now, I'm going to attempt to address some of these issues in this video, but there is a load more to unpack around this issue, so there may be other videos. And I'd love to know your comments, what you've experienced about this online, chatting to people, discussing with people, debating with people, or even arguing or trying to educate people. If you enjoy the video and if you enjoy the content, please click the like button, please subscribe to the channel. It will really help get the messages out there around abusive, toxic relationships. So this whole point is centered on a woman being alone in the woods. She's on her own. She's not lost. She's just there. So transport yourself into the woods. And you're going to meet either a bear or a man. Now, as a woman, which would you rather choose to meet or bump into? A bear or a man? The vast majority of women have said the bear. And men are up in arms about this because to them, choosing the bear is illogical because the bear is going to kill and eat you. But that's not the question. The question was, who would she rather bump into? And she chose the bear. Why? Because in many instances, many women, and it's actually 35% total of the world's population of women, have been in some way raped, we're using that term now, by men. 35% of the world's population. I'm going to put the link to that into the description box below so you can go and check it out. And that 35% does not include the vast majority of the countries in the global south. So we're talking the majority of Africa, the majority of South America, and the majority of Asia. Can you imagine how much higher it would be if we did include those figures? Now, before everybody says, well, this, that, and the next thing, I did live in South Africa for a long time, and I do know that it is an endemic issue. Rape is an endemic issue in Africa. It is perpetrated by many men, and one of the differences between African and European or Western nations is that the African man often has many wives. That's a discussion for another day. So, we're working with the 35% of women around the world who have been raped. Now, rape is only one of the issues. We are not only talking about rape, we're not only talking about physical abuse against women. We are also talking about any unwanted attention that that woman has been subjected to from a man in her life. So that includes things such as catcalling, wolf whistling, being shouted at out of a car window and told to lift up your skirt, being upskirted, having a little boy pull your hair or look up your skirt, being groped in public. Yes, that's happened to me several times. In public, in shops that were full of people at the time. These people are sneaky the way they do it. They are very, very sneaky and they are well practiced at it. It also includes things like flashes, being sent unwanted dick pics, any form of sexual abuse that a woman has gone through from a man is what we're talking about. So please don't just focus on the rape and domestic violence statistics here. We need to include all of these other areas as well, because they make women scared of men. So can you imagine as a schoolgirl, 14 years old, sitting on a bus with a group of other schoolgirls? We were going to our sports day in another town, and this car pulled alongside us on the bus, and the guy had his John Thomas out and was waving it at us. Of course, being a group of teenage schoolgirls, we all laughed, but actually none of us wanted to see it. None of us wanted that. And what did the man gain out of doing that? I'd love to know. If anybody who's watching this has done that, then please let me know what you gained from doing that. That trauma can create fear. Now think about people who have a fear of dogs because they've been bitten by a dog or chased by a dog. It's the same thing. A woman has been raped by a man, and now she's going to fear men. It's her experience. Yes, she knows that it's not all men that are going to do that, but we don't know which men are the good men and which men are the bad men. You don't wear signs telling us. We don't know. We really do not know. And if a woman has been through a narcissistic, abusive, toxic relationship, she is going to be even more sensitive to this kind of discussion. So the men that have committed these predatory behaviours have influenced a woman's emotions. A woman cannot turn off her emotions, neither can a man. A man will try, but he can't. Generally comes out in his fists. But a woman will try to hide this from people. But it's trauma that she's experienced. And if, like me, you have experienced more than one of these things, then that trauma is magnified 1,000-fold. But what I'm finding happening is, through the videos that I've been posting on TikTok, is that women's experiences, their personal experiences of abuse from men, are being dismissed. They're not included. No, they're not important. You must look at the stats and the figures. You must, not all men are like that. We know not all men are like that. We are well aware of that. But we also know that some men are. And we also know that we don't know which ones are and which ones aren't. Look at instances of date rape. Look at instances of coercion. Look at sex trafficking. Look at FGM. Look at all the other atrocities around the world that women have to endure. Arranged marriages, being forced to carry a child until birth from somebody who raped them. There is so much misogynistic, patriarchal abuse against women. It is terrifying. And what's even more terrifying is these men who are denying and dismissing a woman's personal experiences are making it even scarier, because they want to believe that it's not them and we can't just point fingers. We're not just pointing fingers, guys. There is a reason for all of this. So, if a woman has married an abusive husband, she doesn't know before she gets married that this man is abusive. She might know, but she thinks he's going to change, because often that's what the abusive man will say, that they're going to change. But the woman is going to be timid around that because she's experienced something in the past. It takes a lot to build up trust in another person. Now, another statistic that I know is going to be thrown back at me in my face is that, well, men suffer more abuse than women. Yes, I agree. They suffer more abuse from men. So what is the common denominator here? Men. Men are aggressive. Men have testosterone. It is a chemical in the male body that the female doesn't have. So men get into fights. Men are abused by each other. And then they go on to abuse the women because they're an easier target. And I want to stress again that it's not all men. Not all men are like this. Again, we know that. But we do have a favour to ask those of you who aren't abusers, those of you who would never do that to a woman, those of you who respect women, we ask that you help us. That instead of saying, not all men, and you're saying this and you're saying that and you're saying the next thing, where's your proof, where's your proof? Denying the woman's personal experiences, we would like you men to help us stop this behaviour. And how can you do that? By calling it out when you see it happening in your circle of friends. Now, I used to work in a pub, and I've also waitressed in my life, and I've worked in retail, in shops. When I was working in the pub, there were many groups of people men who would sit together and discuss a woman behind the bar, what they would like to do to them, where are they from, what will they do. It's a man trying his luck. But if we don't want that attention, we don't want it. This is where it becomes awful, is that a group of men who've been drinking, talking about what they would like to do to a 16-year-old girl. Oh, she's wearing a short skirt, she wants it, she wants this, she wants that, we're going to do this, that and the next thing, and all the disgusting things that I've heard that men want to do to women. And they want to do it without the woman's consent. That is what is important here. It's without the woman's consent. They are living in a little fantasy world, and this fantasy world is created by the pornography that they choose to view. And this is why so many men get upset with women when there are certain things that a woman doesn't want to perform during making love. Men will torment and tease women. And this again creates fear. And it starts from the girl being a little girl. When a boy pulls her hair, oh, boys will be boys. Well, no, boys must stop being boys and start being polite and start being taught from an early age that they should be kind to women. They should be nice to women and girls and not try to abuse or hurt them in some way. This is such a problem because so many of the male population do not want to accept that their gender has a fault. Yes, we know that women abuse men. Yes, we know that, a woman raping a man is possible. We know this. But the chances of that happening to a man versus happening to a woman are vastly different. Remember, 35% of the women in the world have experienced some form of rape. 35%. Think about that. Just think about that for a minute. 35%. Unwanted. And that doesn't even include the other unwanted attention, like the flasher, like the person sending the dick pic, like the person groping you on the bus. There was a picture I saw the other day, actually. It came up on my feed. I can't remember which platform I was on. And it was a woman on a bus on her own, and she'd taken this photograph of this man who'd sat next to her. The bus was empty, but he sat next to her. I would have said something, but that's me. Because a man sitting next to a woman like that on the bus is intimidating. She's just going to be sat there thinking, what am I to do? And that's why she took this photograph, so she could show that this is what was happening. We as women are taught as girls, young girls, to be careful around boys because boys do bad things. We shouldn't be being told that. Fathers should be telling their sons not to do bad things to girls, and then we wouldn't need to be fearful. This fearfulness is ingrained in women from them being children, because the father knows exactly what men are capable of. So if you are a father and you do warn your daughter, great. But if you are a father and you don't school your son, bad. Must start schooling your son. These actions that women are not comfortable with, and I had another gentleman, if you could call him that, another man, let's say, tell me that, oh, women these days enjoy doing acts that are on porn. I'm sure there are many women out there who do, and that's their choice, and they give their consent for that. But other women say, no, I do not give my consent for that. And yet the partner, the man, will still try and push his luck to do that thing because that's what they want to do, and they don't care how the woman feels about it. They just want their own pleasure and joy. So any of these things can happen at any time to any woman, even by someone they love and trust. And on this channel, I talk about abusive relationships, and many women on here who do follow me and do follow the channel have been through those abusive relationships, have suffered some form of hurt and abuse, physically, sexually, or emotionally from a man. And what is interesting in this day and age is that these problems are becoming more and more evident. Women are starting to open up in our plight for safety for ourselves. When we look at things that have been happening in the past couple of years during, sort of COVID years, police officers having nicknames such as the Grapist, who then go on to grape and unalive a woman who was just walking home. We can't even trust the police. How can we trust the police? How can we trust any man when the person that we are supposed to trust the most, our father, our partner, or the police, are actually committing these atrocities against us? Men say men get abused more than women, and I've already gone over this. They do because they're being abused by men. Yes, women do abuse men, and I'm not denying that that happens. It does happen, but it is far, far less than the other way around. The common denominator from all of this abuse is masculine toxicity. It is testosterone. It is men. And that's why we are afraid. Because you guys don't wear a sign that says, I'm okay, I'm a good guy, or I'm the evil one. You don't. We don't know. We have had experiences with people that we loved and trusted. So how can we know that the man that we're going to meet or meet up or bump into in the woods is actually not going to harm us? Whereas with the bear, we know a bear's nature is to protect its surroundings and its children. So there's a chance that we may get eaten and killed by the bear. But there's also the chance that the bear may just go on its way and do its own thing. If we don't bother it, it may not bother us. But I can tell you now, every woman that has walked home alone at night from a friend's house, from a pub, from a party, from wherever, is terrified of being accosted by a man. I've seen stories where men are afraid of a woman accosting them at night. I understand. But the chances are you as a man are going to be stronger than the woman. The woman is not going to be stronger than the man. We talk on the phone to our friends. We tell our friends where we're going and when we're going to come back. We hold our keys in our hands. Yes, this may not be the best thing to do, but hey, what other weapons are we allowed to carry? And also, I've also seen instances of women who've been going out in taxis or Ubers, actually pulling out strands of their hair, licking their fingers and putting it onto the side of the door of the car as proof that they were there, as proof that they were in that vehicle. That is what we think about. Women, we lock our doors, we lock our car doors, we keep our windows closed. We avoid wearing certain clothing in public because we know that men are going to comment in a derogatory way or in a positive way. It doesn't matter. I have been told this week that I am a man in woman's clothing. I'm not trans. I'm a woman. I was born a woman and I'm still a woman. And it doesn't, you know, it's meant as an insult, but it's not. It just basically shows that the person who said it is a little bit childish in behaviour and doesn't know what else to say. So, we are asking you men to help us to realise that 97% of women in the UK, I'm using UK statistics here, have experienced some form of physical or sexual abuse from a man, and I'm including wolf whistling, catcalling, dick pics, etc, etc, etc. 97%. So, who do we trust? This is why we need your help, guys. We need you to educate your children, your sons. Make sure that they are looked after. Why should women have to warn their daughters that it's not safe, that they shouldn't wear a short skirt when going out? Why? We shouldn't have to. Men should be able to restrain themselves. If you've enjoyed the video, please click the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Hope to see you next time. Blessed be.